Welcome, debtors and borrowers, to Bankruptcy Bailout, because debt ruins lives, not bankruptcy. My name is Matt Burkus, Colorado bankruptcy and student loan relief attorney. And in this video, we're going to answer the question of whether consumer credit counseling is a scam. So we'll talk about what is consumer credit counseling, does it work, and is it right for you? But to briefly sum up, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being that it is a legitimate, useful, value-added service, and 5 being a criminal enterprise, I would say that consumer credit counseling is a 2. They are legitimate services, and they are helpful, but they don't really add value or solve the underlying issue for why you're going to them. So let's talk about that. First, what is consumer credit counseling? Well, consumer credit counseling are those firms that you see advertised that say, hey, we're nonprofit. Now, nonprofit doesn't mean charity, by the way, but they're not-for-profit, and what they do is they will help you essentially, I hate to use the word consolidate your debt, because that's not really what they do, but they will reach out to your various credit cards and then put you on a payment plan with the consumer credit counseling agency, and they will turn around and pay your various credit cards. And the benefit they can usually provide is they get your credit cards to reduce the interest rate in order to enter into the program, because and there's trade-offs, and that's how in the back end, that's how the consumer credit counseling agencies make money, is on that interest differential. But that's how they work. So basically, you're going to pay a monthly payment to the consumer credit counseling agency, and they're going to distribute that to your various credit cards on your behalf, and get you on a program that usually lasts anywhere from 24 to 48 months to pay off the various credit cards you place with them. So that's consumer credit counseling in a nutshell. But here's some of the problems or challenges with consumer credit counseling. First off, not all firms work with all credit cards, okay? So, you may only have a few credit cards that are authorized for that firm to handle. So it may not handle all the debt you have. Also, consumer credit counseling agencies only work with credit cards. So if you have other types of debt, medical bills, payday loans, judgments, consumer credit counseling can't help you with that. So consumer credit counseling is specific to credit card debt. Next, consumer credit counseling actually hurts your credit. Because think about it for a second. You're no longer making your payments as agreed to the credit card companies. You have begun a special program to repay your debt on slightly different terms than what you agreed to with your credit card companies. So generally, the status on your credit cards will be updated to reflect that you're in consumer credit counseling or some type of special program, and that's going to ding your credit. And then, in addition, a lot of times the credit cards, in exchange for going into one of these consumer credit counseling programs, will close your account. So when you close the account, you're going to lose any benefit to having an open, active account. So that's something to consider when you think about doing consumer credit counseling. It's going to impact your credit negatively. And I think the main challenge that we see with consumer credit counseling is that there's a reason you're going to the consumer credit counseling, and that reason typically is that, well, you have too much debt and you're really struggling making the payments. But consumer credit counseling doesn't solve that problem, because the payment that you pay to a consumer credit counseling isn't that much lower, if it's lower at all, compared to what the minimum payments you were paying anyway. Because again, they're putting you on a fixed schedule that's relatively short, 24 to 48 months, and even though there's a reduced interest rate, the overall payment you're going to make to the consumer credit counseling agency is about the same as you were paying anyway. So most of these programs don't work for most people. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of statistics out of these counseling agencies because they don't release them. But the few that have released success data, it's actually pretty low. It's less than 50% of people who start consumer credit counseling successfully finish the program. And I think based on what we've talked about so far, you can understand why. If you're already struggling with a payment and they're not reducing the payment, it's not really helping you. And that's why I say it's more of a 2 on the scam scale, right? They are legitimate businesses, they're legitimate enterprises, and they do provide a useful service. It's just that there's not much value to the service because it doesn't address the issue you're actually facing. So that's consumer credit counseling in a nutshell. Whether it works for you really depends on your situation. It seems to work for those with relatively low credit card debt, probably $20,000 and under, even less than that. I mean, $20,000 is pushing it, but certainly $15,000 and under. It's sometimes something I will recommend to clients who talk to me about bankruptcy. If they have pretty low debt, I might suggest, like, hey, why don't you talk to a consumer credit counseling agency? See if they can work with your credit cards and see if that works for you. And then if it doesn't, then come back and talk to me about bankruptcy. But if we start getting into much higher amounts of debt, or if you have a variety of different kinds of debt, then obviously consumer credit counseling isn't going to work for you. So I hope this has helped. My name is Matt Burkus. I'm a Colorado bankruptcy and student loan relief attorney. I offer initial consultations by phone for residents of Colorado seeking bankruptcy services, and I offer student loan consultations that cost $169 for those with student loan issues. Best of luck to you.